Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Josh.
I'm Joe.
And we came over from Moving Shoes today to talk to you about how to get properly fit, shoes for any activity. It's not just about running, it's about getting shoes that are right for your biomechanics and fit your foot well. And then also just a little bit of information about the minimal running trend. Joe's going to talk first, so give you a little background on his history. And then...
Yeah, so like Joe said, I'm Joe. We both work at Moving Shoes. We're both runners. We both have coached at Madison West, cross country and track. And I guess I'm more into like the half marathon type stuff. Josh is more like the ultra marathon.
Ridiculous distances. Because I'm slow.
So yeah, like we said, we're talking about kind of what you want to look for when you're going into a store. We're not here to say just go to Moving Shoes. There are certainly plenty of stores you can go to where you're going to find people that are going to be able to get in the right shoe. These are just some of the things you want to look for when you're going to a store. You don't need a fancy computer or a gait analysis machine to figure out what kind of shoe you're in. You just need someone who's got a good knowledge base on what to look for when they should have you take your shoes off, watch you walk at like a normal pace, back and down a walkway. And they'll kind of look at things, how your arches are moving, collapsing, whether or not they're doing things like that when you're walking. Standing on one foot to see if you're able to balance, if you're kind of pivoting back and forth one or the other. We like to talk to people about what their goals are for running. If you're looking to increase your mileage, or just getting into running, or walking, or if you just want a lifestyle shoe that your feet always hurt when you're standing all day, something like that, if those are your goals, as well as any injuries you might have had. So maybe you always have lower back pains, we'd be inclined to give you a shoe that has a lot more cushioning. And then it always helps, if you're going to go get a pair of shoes, bring in old shoes that you've had. Wear pattern says everything. That is, even when we do the walking analysis, people can kind of cheat subconsciously. You just try and stand up a little straighter and not cheat so much. But when we look at your shoes, after wearing a pair of shoes for you, you can really see where you're landing. And that'll tell us if you're a heel or midfoot striker. And that'll have a lot more to do with the minimal movement that Josh will be talking about later. Kind of the forefoot strike is this trend in creating these minimal shoes that really promote a forefoot strike. And then sizing is really important. Typically people will come in and be half size to full size smaller than we'd recommend for a pair of shoes, just because with dress shoes or casual shoes, you're used to kind of being tighter, closer to the end in the shoes. But as you exercise, your feet will swell up with blood, and you're kind of jamming towards the front of the shoe. Anyway, so we do have this golden rule of thumb, and that is about a thumbnail's length from your toe to the end of the shoe, which is what we recommend. Some people prefer a tighter fitting shoe or a looser fitting shoe. It's totally fine. Just like to let you know where you're at with our guidelines.
Yeah, so how many of you have the pinky toe that's curled under the rest of your toes on your feet and has that nice little ridge? It's not supposed to happen. That's because your feet are bound into your shoe. It's a minor version of binding your feet.
Okay, so overpronation. I'm sure everyone's heard about it. There's some bumper stickers. Overpronators are people too. It's fine to be an overpronator. It's something you can work on if you want to fix it, which Josh, you're going to talk about strengthening the muscles in your feet and lower legs. But some people, you're just going to be an overpronator. That's fine. You can wear shoes to help prevent it as much as you can. So the major issue with overpronation is throwing off your natural alignment. So you can see in the picture on the top right, this runner, as they land on their heel and transition to their forefoot, they're now overpronating. That's created that awkward angle from their ankle all the way up, now to their knee, and then it's going to go up to their hip. That can create a lot of issues with tendinitis, plantar fasciitis, stress fractures. Just you can't distribute your weight evenly, and the stress has to go somewhere. So there are shoes that are made to kind of help with overpronation. So if you can think of your feet like this, and overpronating would be bending inwards, shoes kind of help push you back the other way to level you out. You can be in a shoe that has too much support, which can create another problem. So we're trying to make it so you're right in the middle. So hopefully, with the proper pair of shoes, that can help reduce long-term injuries. But there are other foot types besides overpronation, which would be neutral or supination. So the three general categories of shoes that we carry, or that are produced by manufacturers. Neutral shoes, that means there's no arch support built into the shoe. Doesn't mean it's a lesser quality product. A lot of people come in looking for shoes and they think more arch support means a better shoe, more expensive. That's not true. Every shoe is right for the right person. So just because the shoe is neutral, doesn't have arch support, it could be the best shoe there is for you. So that would be someone who has, medium to high arch, isn't an overpronator necessarily. Motion control stability shoes, those are the shoes that do have varying degrees of support, and we call that a medial post. And we brought shoes that we'll let you come up and look at if you'd like afterwards. But basically, it is on the medial side of the shoe, in that dark gray area, it's just a higher density foam. Unlike the cushion, which you can press in on, you can't really press in on that. So that's the area where if your arch is collapsing, it doesn't let it. It just kind of pushes you back the other way. And then the minimal shoes are shoes that don't really, your foot can do whatever it wants in these shoes.
It's a slipper.
It's a slipper. It's just it's a surface to protect you from stepping on anything you might encounter out on the street or something like that.
So, something to think about if you are coming in for running shoes or jogging shoes is to think about your mechanics. When we take a look at shoes and wear pattern, if, for example, a person doesn't have any wear in the heel and they're landing exclusively on the forefoot, it means their mechanics are a certain way. And if that's the case, I tend to get them away from a shoe with a big 2-inch heel. You don't have to go all the way towards getting in a super flexible slipper like this. This is not appropriate for everybody. This is kind of the extreme outlier. But shoe companies are now making shoes that from front to back have just a flatter last so that you're not standing on a ramp and incited to land on your heel. You can actually swing the foot through and land flatter to more forwards on your foot, which distributes the weight instead of along your bones in a braking manner. It distributes the weight along the tendons and muscles so that you actually don't end up with stress fractures and things over time. It's just a little bit more biomechanically efficient, a little bit more optimal. And that's talking about standing with proper posture and then thinking about lifting your knee more. A lot of runners like to shuffle with the leg kind of straight. It's more about lifting the knee and rolling over the ground rather than clawing at the ground. That's a bit more efficient. So we get a lot of people in here that read Born to Run or have seen people in the toe shoes and they want to come in and try them on. Both flat-footed overpronators as well as neutral, very high arch people can wear these shoes, but there is a lot more work your foot has to do. Your foot has to strengthen itself, the Achilles tendon has to strengthen, and for me personally it took about 8 months, I'd say, to get really used to changing my mechanics. And the issue wasn't switching shoes and the shoes did the work for me. It's switching the shoes so that you're forced to have better proprioception, so that you can feel the ground more and you know what kind of force you're running with and you can moderate that. It's teaching your body a different way of running. So kind of the happy medium that people have been ending up in isn't going all the way to the barefoot shoes. A lot of people buy that to cross-train in, do fitness classes, go to the gym, that kind of stuff. A lot of people end up in this kind of happy medium with a shoe that's more flexible than your general shoe, has a little bit wider last so your foot spreads out like it's supposed to. Wider is better, like the tire commercials say. And then has that lower heel-to-toe drop so that you can be less incited to land on your heel. We've got a bunch of shoes up here. If anybody is a size 8 to 8.5 in women's shoes and wants me and Joe to look at their feet, we can have you try on some stuff. We've got a full range of both control and neutral shoes just to try on a couple. Or come up and look and see, just what things look like. Or any questions? Oh, and the other thing, shameless plug, all hospital employees in Madison that go to Move-In Shoes get 10% off their running shoes. So UW, St. Mary's, Meriter. So if you didn't know it, it's probably on the HR webpage somewhere, but I figured I'd give another notice. And we're located at 528 South Park Street, just a couple blocks from you guys. Any questions? Anybody want to come have us look at their feet and kind of give you an indication of, whether you have severe overpronation or just feel what a really comfortable shoe feels like?
If you have worn shoes, you might want to just show him how your shoe is wearing, and it can kind of help you too. Give you ideas.
Come on up and look at shoes.
I'll look at shoes, but I didn't bring any socks.
Oh, that doesn't matter.